Hello guys, today I am going to be discussing a pretty controversial topic, and if you don't agree with me, that's fine, but I'm kind of making this video for those that kind of do want a little bit of direction. But the direction, or what I'm going to be talking about today, is should you modify your car? Now, there's a lot of reasons why, there's probably actually more reasons why you wouldn't want to modify your car than actually would. And the first one, like what I'm driving now, comes with a warranty. I'm in a 2015 WRX, and like this car comes with a 3-year, 36,000 mile warranty. And when you go and buy it new, a lot of people don't want to lose their warranty. It makes a snow. Ugh. Warranties are great, and once you start modifying a car, you lose that part of your warranty. It's not like you put a Catback on your car and you void the entire warranty. You kind of just void that portion of it. But like with Subarus or with most other turbocharged cars, once you start putting in or tuning it, like with the Accessport, that's when you start really voiding the warranty, because the fact that you're changing the engine parameters. So I mean, that's a really big reason. And some people say, I am going to wait until my warranty's over to modify the car. Do I agree with that? No, I don't. But I'm saying I can see why people do that, because if they spend, $30,000-$40,000 on a car, it's kind of nice to have that reassurance of a warranty on there. But personally, would I wait 3 years, 36,000 miles to modify a car? No. But if you are one of those people that do want to have the reassurance of the warranty, you can do other things. There's other things you can do to get around or to kind of make yourself happy with mods that don't void the warranty. So like first example is like a Catback exhaust. You can do a Catback, you get a little bit more sound, and the only part of the warranty it voids is the Catback exhaust portion of the car. And it's like, well, if you have any issues with the aftermarket one, you just put the stock one back on. There's not a huge difference there. But there are plenty of other things you can do, like I talked about in my last video. Some basic mods are like for this car, there's LED fog lights. You can do like the pitch stop, the shifter bushings. Like there's so many things that you can actually do to kind of make the car feel better, that don't break the bank and won't actually void your warranty. But then there's other people who, instead of going fast, want suspension stuff. So like obviously if you're changing out components from stock, you're going to void that portion of that warranty. So like if I change out the Catback exhaust, you void the Catback portion of the warranty, which is fine. So like it kind of comes into play, if you want to mod your car and you just want to do suspension, or you just want to lower it and put some wheels on it, do you do like springs or coilovers? That's really up to you. But it's really up to what you're after in the car. Do you want it to go fast, or do you want it to look good? Some people just say, I'm just happy with lowering a little bit, putting wheels on it, and calling it a day, or just doing visual stuff, because that at the end of the day, your warranty's still intact and you have a really nice looking car. And then there's other people that do want to go fast. So moving on to the second reason why you wouldn't actually want to modify a car, or kind of the one reason why a lot of people don't have more mods, is money. Mods cost money. They do. And cheap mods are kind of crap. See, I'm the type of person that says, okay, if you're going to modify your car, do it right. I mean, don't just cheap out because you want to go fast for cheap. Like with this car, the first thing that I had bought for this car was an Accessport. I had it even before I had the car. Like if you have a Subaru and you want to go faster, the first modification you should have is an Accessport. There's people that are going to tell you, oh, you can do, you know, ECU tech or whatever it may be. There's like, for the old ones, there's like ROM Raider, and it's like, oh yeah, you can get by with doing that on the cheap. But it's like, no, don't do it on the cheap. Like, if you're gonna do it, you know, do it right. You know, I mean, there's so many eBay components out there now, but like, the way I look at it is, you know, this car is a $30,000 car. I'm not spending $30,000 on a car and then I'm going to spend $30 or on like an aftermarket intake or whatever it may be. I'm not going to cheap out on something that could potentially ruin the car. You know, I'm going to buy all these quality components because I know that there's, you know, they've been proven and whatnot. You know, buying like an eBay intake with a MAF housing that doesn't even, or, you know, that leaks air is not good. You know, you could have a lot of issues. The thing I say is, if you're going to modify the car, you know, do it the right way, or do it a way that's at least that isn't cheaping out. You shouldn't say, okay, you know, what's the cheapest I can lower the car for? You know, because you can just cut your springs at that point. But why would you want to do that? Some people have done it, and some people will continue doing it. But then moving on to what have I done? So personally, I like go before show. I like going, or I like having more performance, power-wise, as far as looks. So I have not done any suspension mods as of yet. I've done pretty much all power mods up until this point, and now I'm going to go on and do suspension. So some people may want to just go straight to suspension, and some people may want to go straight to power, and I went straight to power. You know, I went Accessport, and then like exhaust and everything. And also, if you're gonna do this with your car, definitely get a tune. Like, I know with the 2015 WRXs or 2016s now, the off-the-shelf maps are not as good as like other off-the-shelf maps for other cars, just because there's not as much development. So if you're gonna go out and tune your 2015 WRX, or you want to go for power, don't cheap out and just run off-the-shelf maps, because like, if you went stage 2 and ran off the shelf, you could have somebody who buys a bone stock car, buys an Accessport and a Pro Tune, and is quicker than you, makes more power and is quicker. You know, what's the point of spending all that money on mods if you cannot back it up with a tune? And also research your tune, please. Like the tuner that you have, look at other cars that they've done. Look at other cars. Have they had any failures? Do they tune other vehicles that make stupid amounts of power? You know, because once you start pushing that limit, is the point at which more failures are going to occur. So if your tuner can tune 600-700 horsepower, whatever, with big nasty turbos and whatnot, you know, and have a pretty high success rate, you know, they don't have any failures, you know, they know how to keep it safe. That's my thing, is keeping everything safe. Yes, you know, you're pushing the envelope of the car. You're putting a lot of not a lot of stress on it, but, you know, more stress than comes from the factory. You got to make sure that that's safe. So going back into it, it's like, okay, personally, would I recommend that you tune your car or modify your car? Yes, I do recommend that you modify your car, because I have done it myself. But I'm not going to tell you which modifications to do. That's all about what you want to do. So if you want more power, then go with more power. Do you want suspension? Then go with suspension. I highly recommend doing stuff. I personally don't think that you should ever buy a car and leave it stock, but that's my opinion. Now, everybody has their own opinion. Out of all the cars I've owned, I've never had a car that was stock. You know, I enjoy fiddling with the cars. I enjoy making them go faster and perform better. Just because that's how I am. That's what I like. You know, not everybody's gonna like that. But if you're concerned about your warranty, then do stuff that doesn't void your warranty. if you want to modify your car. Some people are perfectly fine with stock. But I mean, if I was in a scenario where I did not want to void my warranty, or at least, you know, the powertrain warranty, like going with a tune, I would at least do a catback for a little bit of noise, you know, because I like to have a little bit of a louder car. And then I'd go and get like a nice suspension setup, like a rear sway bar, lowering springs, or not lowering springs, maybe coilovers or lowering springs, but rear sway bars, you know, some nice sticky tires, you know, whatever that may be. And then other things you can do is, you know, you can do like your wheels, you can do like the lips, you can do the shifter bushings, the pitch stop, the LED lights, you can do, you know, wings, or, you know, you could put on Recaros and harnesses and, you know, whatever it may be. You know, there's so many modifications that you can do that don't actually void your warranty that you'll be very happy with. So I say, if you're worried about the warranty, just don't do a modification that voids your warranty. Just do stuff that, just do whatever's going to make you feel like, you know, you're happy with the car. I'm personally really happy with my car at the moment. I started modifying it right when I got it. I knew when I bought it I was going to modify it. You know, and I'm going to continue modifying it with suspensions, my next thing to do. And then after suspension, we'll go and we'll look at some wheels and tires, and moving on. I want to do some autocrosses, and I want to take it to the track and kind of have some fun with it. But so to go back, should you modify your car? I say yes. Some people are going to tell you, oh no, you start modifying it, you're going to blow it up. You know, there's so many controversial topics. I mean, do whatever you think's best. If you're worried about blowing it up, do suspension stuff, you know, or, you know, if you're worried about tuning the car, tell the tuner, whoever is tuning your car, that you want it to be super, super safe, and they'll dial it back. You know, yes, a tuner can make significantly more power than a Cobb off-the-shelf map, and be even safer than the stock map, because the stock map on these cars are pretty terrible. So I mean, you know, you got to take it kind of like a double-edged sword. It's like, yeah, I can leave it stock, but the stock tune could potentially be worse than like a really safe, reliable pro tune that actually makes more power. You know, it's kind of like hit or miss. You know, it's kind of like check and balances. What exactly do you want to do, and what's going to make you happy? So hopefully you enjoyed listening to me. Check out my other videos that I have. You know, I've done like a review on this car being stage 2, and what I think about it and how quick it is. I really enjoy it. But also, if you want to, like, find my Instagram, friend me on Facebook, ask me any questions that you have, because, you know, I do have a lot of knowledge when it comes to this car and these cars in general. So if you made it this long, thank you for listening to me. I do ramble on a bit, but also, if you have any recommendations for other videos that you want to see, let me know, and I'll certainly do them. Thanks, guys. See ya.